friends, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video and for being here today. Oh, are you saying hello? Welcome back. So today's video is actually inspired by a recent TikTok I uploaded that ended up going a little bit viral. That TikTok was actually inspired by a video I did several years ago. So if you've been here a while, you may remember when I uploaded a video talking about the embarrassing things I did when I was overweight. It was one of my first videos and it's one of my highest viewed videos. So that old video inspired my new TikTok, which kind of talked about some of the unhinged things I did as a binge eater. I got a lot of positive feedback on it. I kind of forgot how much people like hearing other people talk about their binge eating problems. I know it helps a lot of people feel seen, understood. So since it did so well on TikTok, I figured why not bring it to YouTube? Why not bring it to where it all began? Why not tell you guys some of my downright deranged, unhinged stories from when I was binge eating? Before telling these stories, I did want to give, I guess, a little disclaimer. Since I'm so far removed, I haven't binge ate in over 2,000 days, I think it is now. It's really easy for me to make light of these things, and I enjoy doing that because, like I said, I feel like it helps people feel less shame. But with saying that, I never want to perpetuate the idea that binge eating and binge eating disorder are like a joke, because for a lot of people it's not a joke. When I was going through it, it was not a joke. It was very distressing. It came with a lot of guilt, shame, secrecy, and it's a disorder that affects millions and millions of people. Okay, so I figured I would organize the stories kind of in order, starting from childhood leading up to adulthood. If you're new here, if you've never seen my face, just to give a quick overview of my past with binge eating, I was a binge eater and food addict for my entire life. So I've always struggled with food, I've always struggled with the overconsumption of food, but it really became a problem after my 130-pound weight loss. That's when my binge eating came back with a vengeance. So at the end of 2016, when I was coming up on the 130 pounds lost, from that moment until mid to late 2018, maybe even a little bit into 2019, I suffered with severe binge eating. Very bad binge eating. To this day, I don't know many people who would binge the amount of food I did. And as you're gonna hear, it caused a lot of problems for me, both physically and mentally. All right, so the first unhinged thing I did as a binge eater. When I was in elementary school, we used to have a day every week called Pizza Day. And what that entailed was a pizza spot, like Domino's, Pizza, whatever it was, would deliver pizzas to the school for the students to eat for lunch. So every pizza day, I would of course volunteer to go get it. And you may be thinking, I just wanted to be a good student, a good volunteer. I wanted to help out the class, but unfortunately my intentions were far more nefarious. The real reason why I volunteered to get that pizza is because I knew if I was holding the pizza and I brought it to the classroom, I would be the one to open it and I would have first access to the slices of pizza, because they were never cut evenly, of course. There was always slices this big, there were slices this big. So I knew if I was the first to open that box, I could grab the two biggest slices. Even if I knew I was getting two slices and someone else was only getting one and theirs was this big, it didn't matter, bitch. It was gonna be mine. That pizza was gonna be mine. Also, another story from Pizza Day, and this one is a little more embarrassing. There was one Friday, a pizza day, where a student was missing and I noticed they were missing and I knew they got pizza. I knew they were on the pizza list. So what I did is I went up to my teacher and I lied. I said, Miss whatever, Miss blank, Amanda, let's say their name was Amanda, isn't here today, and she told me I could eat her slice of pizza at lunch. To which my teacher responded, awesome, it's yours. Until Amanda showed up to school. Amanda showed up right before lunch. And when this happened, I thought, I'm just gonna stay silent. If I stay silent, no one will know I lied about securing this extra piece of pizza. But unfortunately, that wasn't enough, because my teacher went right up to Amanda and said, oh no, Jordan is gonna be so disappointed she doesn't get your slice of pizza anymore. Which Amanda responded,
what the fuck are you talking about?
and that is how I got caught lying about the extra piece of pizza that was never meant to go to me. Something else I did a lot as a child was the under the shirt method. Hide all your snacks, all your food under your shirt and run to your bedroom so no one knows you're sniping snacks. I did this everywhere. Really, I remember doing it several times at my grandma's house because she used to make the bombest chocolate chip cookies, the thick ones, the tall ones. They were so good, but as any responsible grandma would do, she would only let me have one or two. But unfortunately, that just wasn't enough. That wasn't enough for little Jordo, because several times throughout the day, I would run to the cookie jar, steal cookies, put them under my shirt, and run to the washroom and eat those cookies as fast as I could. The faster the better, because that means I was not gonna get caught, and I never was caught. I became quite a pro at the under the shirt method. I did it at my grandma's house, I did it at my parents' house with all my school snacks. My dad would go grocery shopping and he would get those boxes of like 6 school snacks. Yeah, those lasted one day in my house because I would sneak, grab, under the shirt, run. And then my final childhood binge story is one of my favorites. I told my brother like 10 years after and he just could not believe it. Every week my family would have pizza nights, but with every pizza night came leftover pizza. And in my house, that was a high value commodity. Okay, you never knew when the leftovers were gonna disappear. I come from a family of eaters. Not really my mom. My mom has never really been an eater, but my dad, my brother, and I, eaters. Every night after pizza night, I would set alarms so I could wake up first in the morning and secure the leftover pizza. It didn't matter if it was 8 a.m., 9 a.m. As long as I got up before my brother so I could be the one to eat that leftover pizza, I was happy. And my brother would rage seeing that leftover pizza gone. He wondered, how is it already gone at 11 a.m.? It was me and my big brain. It was me. All right, so now moving on to some of my adulthood stories. I would say these were happening like 23, 24, 25. That's when I was really struggling with binge eating. So important information here is when I started losing weight, I was in the second semester of my first master's degree. And by the time I was struggling with binge eating, I was in the first semester of my second master's degree. So as I went into my second, I was meeting a lot of new people and we were doing a lot of social events. One of those events being a potluck. And at this potluck, we were drinking. And alcohol is a very strong theme through a lot of my binge eating stories. The second I had alcohol, all my reasoning, it was gone. I always binged worse when I was drunk. So I'm at this potluck, I'm really drunk, and I look across the table and I see my new classmate Gwen, I'm sorry, but she brought a pie. And I think at that time there was like one slice gone. So no one had really gone into it yet. And that was a mistake on everyone's part because Jordan was there. The second I got a hold of that pie, it was over for everyone. I actually have photo evidence of this. I'll put it on the screen. But the second I got a hold of that pie, I just started eating it from the tray. I ate the whole potluck pie that I did not bring. And when people went looking for it, I was faced with a dilemma. I had to admit what I had done because, like I said, someone has a photo, people saw it happening. Another drug story I have, I was at a party with the same group of people from my new master's program, and I was about to leave, and I knew at home I didn't have any food because when I was sober, I was a little more rational. I knew not to keep easily bingeable foods at my house because then I would binge on them. So as I was leaving, I knew I didn't have anything at home. And I remember going across the street to a little convenience store. So I ended up buying an 8-pack of hamburger buns, a jar of peanut butter. I went home and I ate all of the buns and all of the peanut butter. And unfortunately for me, that was the first time I ever had a gallstone attack from binge eating. If you don't know what a gallstone attack is, it's when gallstones get stuck traveling in like your tube from your stomach, from your gallbladder to your stomach or something. I'll put it on the screen. I don't actually know the exact science, but they get stuck and they cause gallbladder cramping, and it is the worst pain I've ever felt in my life. I've had a ruptured appendix. I've had loose skin removal. Nothing tops a gallstone attack. The first time I had it, I thought I was going to die. It was so bad. I was on the floor crawling because I woke up at like 3 a.m. in absolute pain because, like I said, I just ate a whole jar of fucking peanut butter. And all I really remember was crawling to the toilet because I thought maybe I had to pass a bowel movement or throw up, and nothing happened. So I crawled back to my bedroom, wondering if I was about to die on the floor, and I just passed out. And you would think that experience was kind of the nail in the coffin for me to stop binge eating, but unfortunately no. It happened many, many more times. I think that my tendency to continue binge eating despite going through these severely painful episodes, these gallbladder attacks over and over, I think that's just really illustrative of how out of control you feel with an eating disorder. It's really unfortunate, but binge eating disorder, I feel like, is heavily stigmatized because the average person who suffers with it is overweight opposed to underweight. And because of that, a lot of people write off binge eating as simply you being lazy or you having no self-control or no determination. But really, that's not true at all. The issue wasn't willpower. The issue was that I had an untreated eating disorder. But moving on, because I have a lot more. So when I used to go to fast food restaurants, I would always order more than one meal because I wanted to eat more than one meal. Usually it was 2, 3, 4, sometimes 5 meals. I know I've already established this, but just to reiterate, severe binge eating problems, okay? So I would go to these restaurants and order all these meals, but I was always so afraid that people would clock me, that people would know I was ordering all these meals for myself. So in my head, a good way to make them think otherwise was to pretend I was talking on the phone. So I would often go up to counters, pretend I was on the phone, and pretend I was talking to someone, asking them what they wanted off the menu. No one is on the phone. I am making shit up. I deserve an Oscar for these performances because they would ask me things, I would ask the person on the phone, I would, wait my 3 seconds for the response, respond. If I was feeling a little nervous, I didn't feel like I could put on a show that day, I would do the same thing but with text. So I would make this poor person wait for me to text people that didn't exist. I was looking at a blank screen, okay? I was looking at a blank screen, pretending I was texting people, asking them what they wanted on their orders, just so this person would not think I was ordering it all for myself. But to make it even more believable, I would order the correct amount of drinks for the correct amount of food. So if I was ordering 3 meals, I'm ordering 3 drinks, because in my head, that showed the person working, who, by the way, I don't even think gave a fuck. Like, in retrospect, did they care? Were they thinking, this girl's gonna eat all this food? No, probably not. They don't care. But as I've said, binge eating comes with a lot of shame and a lot of guilt. All right, so the next story. So between the ages of 19 to 27, I had roommates. So during that time, we obviously had shared accommodations. We shared a kitchen. So something I would do regularly is I would go to the kitchen when everyone else was, when everyone was making their meals, when everyone was meal prepping, and I would pretend I was doing the same thing. So I would make mounds of food, like colossal amounts of food, and put them into different meal prep containers, pretending that these were gonna be my meals for a week, when really, those meals were not gonna make it past that night. I would put on this show as if I'm meal prepping with everyone, talking about, I'm gonna make this for Friday because this stays better in the fridge. Honest to God, I deserve an Oscar for my performances, okay? The levels of the deception and the lies, it's truly, like, I know it's deranged, unhinged behavior, okay? So eventually we all finished meal prepping at the same time, our fridge was full, and then the waiting game began. Now I just had to wait. I waited until everyone went to bed, because I knew the second everyone was in their rooms, sleeping away, it was my time to emerge from my room. I was in the basement, I was the only one in the basement. Emerge from my little cave like a ninja, run to the fridge, grab my food, and book it back downstairs. Another thing I did quite regularly was when a binge started, when I could feel it was starting, I would get really desperate and try to end it before it escalated. Unfortunately, 99% of the time it was not possible. If I had it in my head I was binging, there was nothing I could do to stop it. I thought I could prevent it from happening if I simply got rid of all the food in my house. I thought if there's no food, I can't eat it. So there were several instances where I actually took my food and I threw it in the garbage. I threw it out, I said, there, it's done, I can't eat it. But sadly, that did not stop me. No. It did not stop me, because 2 hours later, I would proceed to go into the trash, pick the food out of the trash, and eat it. I know that's disgusting, I know that's really gross, but again, I hope it helps illustrate the severity of binge eating for some people. Something else I did regularly was I would frequent the grocery store after 8 p.m. because if you went to the bakery and the grocery store after 8 p.m., all of their cakes and stuff were on sale because they knew it was less likely they were gonna sell them that day. So I would go get my discounted cakes for like 6 to 8 people, bring them home and eat them in one night. And if you're wondering how I had a bottomless pit of a stomach, like how possibly could I eat all these things, it's because my approach and relationship with food was so toxic and unhealthy that instead of putting food away when I was full, I would just wait 10 more minutes so I could eat more. That's how I binge ate. Like, I would get so sickly full. But for whatever reason, my brain is not telling me to stop. My brain is instead telling me to wait a bit. Wait until, some space is made in your stomach and then keep going. So that's usually how it went. I would start binging, I would get so sick and so full that I'd have to stop until 15, 20 minutes, maybe 10 minutes later, I would just continue. And that's how the cycle went. Stop, start, until I either ran out of food or I just literally physically could not get anything else in my stomach. All right, so next and possibly the most embarrassing, because I did this publicly. I did this after I already had an audience on YouTube, on Instagram, so this was very public. But at the height of my binge eating, I thought I could cure my binge eating by only eating potatoes for a month. This is by far the most embarrassing thing I've ever done on the internet. I was so convinced this is what was gonna work. I was so convinced this was gonna cure me. So much so that I announced I was doing it, that I gave updates, and that I made a video at the end telling everyone about my experience. It did not work, of course. I ended up binging almost immediately. I ate only potatoes for a month, just to fuck up the next day. And just so you know, to this day, all my friends in the weight loss community, all my friends who are like creators and stuff, they still roast me for this. So if you think that decision of mine has been going under the radar all these years, no. No. I hear about it every time I see certain people. And I will probably for the rest of my life. And I guess I'll just end on that. I'll end on the potato story, the potato diet. So those are all the stories that I'm gonna be sharing in this video. I hope you guys enjoyed them. Before I go, I did wanna remind you guys that if you're interested in joining my February weight loss, wellness, accountability community group on Facebook, registration ends in a few days from when this video goes live. So registration ends January 31st. If it sounds like something you would be interested in, you can click the link in my bio and read much more about it. It's basically just an accountability community group where we share our wins, ask questions, share advice, share our workouts. Thank you for being here, and I will see you in the next video.